He called some of us, and just a conversation, kind of what went into the decision, and obviously an incredible career, for an incredible person. So found it last night. I think after the game 5, when he addressed the team and the locker room, and he got a little emotional. I think there was kind of an inkling that he was leaning this way, but until I talked to him last night, obviously nothing was set in stone. So we had a great conversation last night. I think we're all extremely fortunate to have been blessed to have been coached by him. I think Chevy said it, but anyone you talk to in the game of hockey will have nothing but good things to say about Bones. Incredible communicator. I think the environment and the atmosphere in the room, and what he was able to do to foster a room of inclusivity. Really make sure everyone had a voice. I can't say enough good things about him.
For him to take the responsibility that he did, and saying that he felt that it was on him for the playoffs, does that even increase the hunger over the course of the off season from the player perspective, Adam, or do you guys interpret that a little differently?
Well, I think we share in the disappointment that we all went through. We had sky high expectations that weren't met in the playoffs, and I think kind of going out how we did is we all want to take another step. We know how hard it is to win in this league, and I think we share in that disappointment. I know he was mentioning that it was falling on him, but I think collectively we all take responsibility. We all had a part to play where we could have been better in the series, and ultimately we'd still want to be playing, not having this press conference today. So, winning the Stanley Cup is what fuels us going far in the playoffs. Continually trying to improve that pursuit of excellence, and I think all of us kind of share that hunger that we don't want to be done this early again.
What has Rick left for you guys? Not just tactically, like the X's and O's part, but from a personal standpoint.
Yeah, I think kind of the X's and O's is such a minor detail of the impact he's had on our group. Like I said earlier, tremendous human being, tremendous communicator. Does such a good job of making everyone feel like a big part of the team, whether they play 5 minutes, whether they're in and out of the lineup, or they're on the first line, first power play. I think he talks about trying to uplift his assistant coaches, but he empowers everyone in our room. He talked about wanting to have an impact on our lives, and a tremendous role model. I think looking at when he had to step away to take care of Judy, and the emotion, and you can see the love he has for her, and the amount of things he was willing to sacrifice to come to Winnipeg, to come to a spot where the rumblings were we weren't in that great of a spot, right? So a tremendous human being. I think it's a group that I don't think we're as far off as the results may say, and I think Rick played a huge part in that.
Adam, kind of at times like this, we reflect on growth, right? And you referenced, where you guys were at 2 years ago. For you specifically, in this time, you've ended up as a captain. You played an enormous role on that third line and have had success there. Can you share as specifically whether it's a conversation or a moment of an impact that Rick had on you in this time?
Well, I don't think it's one moment. I think it's so cumulative. He does all these little things that really, like I said, it kind of empower you as a player, empower you as a person. I remember at the start of last year when he was away with COVID during, I look at my phone after the game and I've got like 6 text messages from Rick Bowness, and I'm going, what the heck's going on? I don't know if he thinks I'm checking my phone during the game, but in the second period, he's almost coaching, as he's sitting at home, battling COVID. He's, we need to get pucks in there. We could forecheck harder, and then we came back and won that game, and it's a great job. So proud of how your line played tonight. It's little things like that. I think, he calls you into the office, and, generally you get called into the coach's office. You're like, uh-oh, what's going on? But just to have a conversation, just to see where the team's at, to see how I was dealing with the captaincy early on. Just to, check in as a person. He'd send me a text, ask how Laura's doing. Things like that, that go a long way to know that, your coach cares about you as a human. I understand it's a business, and, we're all kind of, in the business of winning, and it's a results-driven business. But, the way you take care of people in this organization has been unbelievable in my time here, and, it only got better when we hired Rick.
When you hear about him talk about, what resonates with him about the game, and it's the interactions with everybody else, what have you learned from him about how maybe you will approach your interactions and how Adam Lowry interacts with the NHL and the people in it on a whole?
Well, I think every interaction is going to be different. Everyone, obviously has different approaches, but I think, hearing him speak today about the impact and he wants to have on everyone individually, kind of, be a good role model, and, he wants to not only help us as players, but help us as people. I think, that's an important message. It's a business. We're here to entertain people. We're here to, uplift the community. But, if you can, start having those impacts on the people in the room, and they can go out in the community, you can really make a difference. And, over his 5 decades in this game, I think he's done that. I think, the NHL is a better place because of people like Rick, and, the amount of time and sacrifice him and Judy and their family have had to put in over the incredible career. He deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. He's most games coached ever. You talk about someone who left it better than when they came in. I think Rick really embodies that.
How did he change the culture? I know players are a big part of that too. How instrumental was he?
Yeah, extremely instrumental. I think I talk about empowering everyone, finding roles for guys, making everyone feel a part of the community, integrating the new players we had come in, and that all starts with Rick. Whether it's those little text messages like I talked about, it's the phone calls, it's the little meetings that he'd have with guys, whether they were struggling or doing well, just to reinforce things. Like he said, he wanted to uplift and empower the assistant coaches. He did that with the players as well. I think, just seeing how he is as a person every day, just seeing his demeanor, how he treats people, whether they're super high up in the organization or not. It's little things like that I think go a long way, and subconsciously you pick up on them and you start trying to replicate.
The second time you've had a coach leave this team by design or by choice. I guess this one feels a lot different.
Yeah, I think obviously the last one was a little different, with my dad coming in and kind of all the circumstances surrounding it. This one, like I said, there was a bit of an inkling, after he talked to us Game 5, but being able to have the conversation, it feels like there's a little more closure, right? Like, I think, it's a great thing as a coach to be able to go out on your own terms. And, we were joking the other day that they get hired to be fired. This is with him, guys. So, when he was asking about, everything in Seattle and what was going on over there. So, to be able to end it on his own terms, to go into retirement, to be able to spend more time with his family and not leave with not a bitter taste in his mouth, but to leave with his head held up high that, he's done a great job with our organization. I know we fell short of the goal of winning the Stanley Cup, and, that certainly stings and is disappointing, but, I think this one, we're certainly going to miss him. He's a remarkable human being.